Excellent, guys. Back here with another PDOCS live stream series Thursday afternoon. And as I was just saying to Keith, as we were kind of prepping and just doing our little introduction and catching up with one another, because we know each other a little outside of business, believe it or not. I was talking about how I haven't had a expert guest on since back in March or February. I've been streaming all the live streams right into the group, and we really haven't been going live from the Zoom room here. So not sure how many of you guys, had clicked on the link or saw the post and realized that we're not streaming to the group. And most people would even be seeing this live right now. JP, there he is. He's on quite a lot of the live streams, both within my Audience Lab brand and PDOCS, and on some of my private client trainings. I think the second one I've seen you on this week, JP. So awesome to have you here. But guys, I'd love to introduce this week's guest, and what I would categorize as probably the highest caliber in terms of sophistication level and real expertise that I've had on probably in the last 18 to 24 months. I don't like to compare apples to apples. I do like to compare apples to apples. I don't like to compare individuals to individuals necessarily when it comes to that, and it's very hard to gauge that, but I feel pretty confident saying that. Keith, you and I have worked together and been interacting on lots of projects over the years, stuff with my sales lab, talking about high ticket sales, your marketing background. A lot that you have to do is in the paid advertising, copywriting angle of things, market research, pain points, which really leads right into your main topic of discussion, which is marketing arguments using your kind of trademark campaign catalyst framework. So why don't we start off, Keith, with you just giving a little introduction, a little about how we know each other, and anything you want to add on to kind of, my introduction there.
Yeah, happy to be on. Let me actually go address my dog real quick. I'm sorry. And then I'll be back.
Kids come first. I can keep talking and keep people busy for a minute or two. But that's the pros and cons of working at home happen in real time, guys. Like, you're a father as well as an entrepreneur and a business owner. There's certainly no harm with, dealing with those interruptions and kind of having them come in real time. I kind of like when we get hiccups in real time. Just shows you the real world.
Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah, I'm real and honest. I'm just a dad. I got 3 kids. A little bit about me though. I've been in marketing and copy for the past probably 5.5, 6 years. I've been in sales for like 10. It first started in corporate, like selling basically money. I'd sell millions of dollars to dealerships and basically tell them how to run their business. But then it quickly switched to copy and marketing online because I, found a way to make money online. I was like, why won't I just stay home and write words for a living? So that's really how it got into it. A little bit about me though. Anyone who's watched this now, JP, anyone who comes online or watches replay, I'm just very down to earth. I'm not a guru. I don't want to be a guru. I've worked and I wrote for a lot of gurus in the past. Some I don't want to name because they ended up flaming out in like conflicts of interest. I have wrote some stuff for Alex Hormozy. I've wrote some stuff for a lot of stuff with big names in health and fitness, BioTrust, Aaron and Jordan Duggar. I worked a long time with them. Vince Pitstick, he's all over like the holistic health side. Pace Morby, it's just like a number of big name people. And I'm really like the campaign guy behind the thing, behind the scenes. So I'm not just an ad guy. I'm not just an email guy, even though I do all of those. I'm really classified as a full stack marketer. So that's really what I do. I come into brands and businesses, 7 and 8 figures, some 9 figures in the past, do consulting, but it's really basically from A to Z, helping people launch campaigns that stick and they scale. Because the biggest problem, that's what I want to talk about today, the biggest problem that many businesses and just, especially with creators, like if you're a solopreneur, if I'm telling you guys right now, if you guys learn this and you can understand this on a very basic level, I'm going to keep it very light, like I'm trying to keep it super light today. But if you understand this, you'll literally be ahead of like 95% of the people. I don't say that with like, that's no BS. Like if you just understand these things, because most of what people, especially today with AI, they argue on a very surface level thing. They make surface level claims, very bold claims. It's whatever, is the flash hook or trend nowadays. And what I want to cover today is really how to get underneath to the core of how to create a really good campaign and really good argument. So you can actually have stuff that scales and it's evergreen, right? Like you can keep making money like over and over and over again. You're not just going to flame out in, a week or 2 weeks, like most people do with ads. So that's really, that's the main topic today. Obviously, like JP, like Raymond, like I said, I like to, I don't know how traditionally you do it, but I like to have back and forth. If you guys want to interrupt anytime, I really don't
Oh
care.
yeah, these are always back and forth with me,
Do
and
that.
I'll give it time for JP or anybody else to chime in. JP is usually pretty interactive. He already put in the chat that he can chat, so we'll call on him. JP's like yourself in some senses, Keith. Actually, you haven't seen him on any, but he's worked with some of the bigger gurus. He knows some of the same names that you mentioned and that we know in this space as well. And I'm glad you let off with that because you're like, I'm not a guru. I don't want to be a guru. I don't want to be classified that way. I'm still the same way. I feel like, within my companies, we've had some success and we've made millions and yada, yada, yada. But I kind of think we do it the anti-guru method and kind of the lesser known way, but just, better products and better messaging, right?
Yeah, 100%. So that's also why I'm glad you said that. That's also why I don't lead with results. I could tell everyone, I said some names, but I could tell everyone that I've for sure generated over like $30 million. I stopped counting a while ago though, because there's like no reason to. There's a lot of things that goes into those factors. Like it's based on the market, it's based on positioning, it's based on the guru who's in front, how old or new the audience is, how aware they are. There's a lot of factors. Like there's just no reason to say that. And like when you lead with those results, and what I want to also talk to you today, when you lead with those results, you'll see that people start to get really tight now because everyone just focuses on claims. It's just claim, claim, claim rather than actual proofs. Like what can you actually visibly provide
Yep.
that will overcome certain claim objections? You know what I mean? So that's kind of like what we're going to lead into and talk about today.
Great,
So
great. And as you're segueing into there, one thing I'd like to point out that, we've mentioned already a few times, it might have went under the radar, but you use the phrase marketing arguments when I think very few people ever think of it or look at it that way. Why don't you just start off talking about that terminology itself and why you use it? Because I think I understand that right off the bat, but I don't think everybody does.
yeah, so argument, the easiest way I would say it in the document we'll see today, and this isn't like a super polished thing, like JP, whoever wants a document, like I'll polish it and give you like something great after this. But a marketing argument is really like, think of it like, you could think of like a marketer who's just trying to get attention. They'll make like bold claims. They'll say very common trends, and like they'll just think of like hooks, like really, like what can I do to get attention right now? How can I hack attention? How can I do a disrupting, a pattern interrupt and stuff like that? But what I'm talking about more is those things, they grab attention, but they don't sustain attention long term. They don't sell people long term, right? So an argument is overcoming beliefs and breaking down barriers that get people to basically change who they are from the inside out. And a marketing argument really, so you think of it more of like you're either trying to hack attention or you're actually trying to, that's part of it, but you want to get attention but sustain it for a long term in order to get someone to basically believe your side. You're creating a marketing argument like a lawyer would do in court, right? So a lot of marketers and creatives don't think in those terms, right? If someone's like being committed for a crime, or like if they're about to see the death penalty, that lawyer better provide a foolproof marketing argument as to every single reason and proof why that person should not be given a chair. I mean, that's how it is, right? So if you present your campaigns this way, that's when you get the long, sustainable campaigns that have low costs and they just scale to the moon and they can scale for a long period of time. I'm not saying this is 100% going to get you there every single time, but this is how you do it. That's what we're going to talk about today, right? So
Awesome.
it's very short-term thinking versus long-term thinking strategy, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. And guys, as Keith just mentioned to JP or to myself, and if you're watching on replay or on YouTube, I will have this down in the description below, along with some contact information if you want to follow Keith or get in contact with him, for any further resources or insight or, find out what he does some more. So all that will be down in the description, the document that he's going to go over and provide to us if you are not watching live here on Zoom. So Keith, feel free to screen share, dive right in, and let's kick it off.
All right. Don't worry about my background. I'm not the most filed person. See a bunch of files like in the back.
We're not judgmental here.
It's okay. Okay. Like I said, I just am who I am. Okay. So how to build airtight marketing arguments with the campaign catalyst framework. So this is parts. So as always, I've learned from all the greats. Like JP, you said, and especially you, Ray, like you studied the greats, you learn from everyone. Okay, this is my unique perspective, what I've learned and what I've done over time to adjust things. I did not reveal this, but I am currently working with Todd Brown as well. So praise to Todd Brown. Like I do some of the work for him and some of his companies right now,
Yep.
building out campaigns for him. A lot of what I learned also is his methodology. And Todd is an OG, right? Todd is one of the best in the business in the world.
Yeah. His results and his conversion percentages when I saw some of those campaigns blew me away.
Yeah. So Todd is a wonderful person, and he's a fantastic marketing mind and business mind. So a lot of this also comes from him. So I just want to give credit where credit's due. And then a lot of it's also from other people I've worked with and picked up in the past. Okay.
Yeah.
So how to build airtight marketing arguments so you can scale for months on end while your competition frantically chases the next time frame. So like I said, everyone is focusing on surface level hooks, trends, arguments, and we want to go levels deeper. That's how you sustain long term. Okay. So here's a little bit. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you how to create marketing arguments so strong that practically do the selling for you across any channel, even cold traffic. Most of what I do is on cold traffic. I can't do a lot because I have agreements in them, but I have at least 6 campaigns right now that are doing multiple 6 figures a month that I've built from complete scratch, and it's 100% cold traffic. It's not warm traffic. It's not someone that has 500,000 followers. It's scaling to Facebook and Google right now. Okay, so this stuff will work, especially if you understand it for warm traffic. Like you can make crazy money without me doing like ridiculous claims. Okay, but it's very, very, very easy way to stand out because most people just aren't doing the things that I'm going to talk about. Okay, and without copying anyone else or being a sleazeball guru, that's kind of my main thing. Okay, so most marketing campaigns die before they hit their prime, so that's true. So we're talking about when you launch an ad, any new campaign that you do, this can be seen in like back-end campaigns too. I'm talking about, like when I say campaign, I want to say marketing material, full funnels, you're talking about VSLs, webinars, anywhere that you're leading to, even back-end campaigns to your list. This is the same process you can take for everything, but this is the main difference of why some of them might do great for 3 days and then completely fail, or some, like I said, go months or even years on end and they're just making money hand over fist. Okay. So nearly every business owner or marketer worries about artificial constructing attention through copy and creative. That's the main thing. So I also do copy chiefing, and I didn't say that yet. I got about 12 people. I do 6, 7-figure agencies. I have a couple 8-figure agencies, and then there's just some like marketers and copywriters who work with 7, 8-figure brands. So they'll bring me their stuff, and I'll help fix them up. We talked about this before. I'll help fix stuff up and then give them back. They can go take them, and I'll basically rewrite or give them new angles, big ideas, anything like that. In my perspective, what I think is going to scale, and I'm basically like a consultant and also a chief for them. But the main thing that everyone focuses on is like I said, what's some attention hacking creative I can use in my ad, which isn't terrible, right? Or like what's some like whiz-bang copy phrase or like some new crazy claim or something that I can make. That's what everyone focuses on, right? Headline isn't catchy enough. Do I need a better hook? Maybe I should try a different angle, right? What visual is a pattern interrupt, right? It's all valid stuff, but it's a very shallow strategy, and I'm going to tell you why. So cute copy and visuals and claims do not scale. They might get attention in the short term, okay? And we're also talking about marketing arguments for paid advertising mainly. You're looking to sell things. You're not looking to get attention. This is not content. I want to make that very clear. We're not talking about content. We're not talking about Mr. Beast or anyone else that is great at short form content. Short form content, I have a buddy, I'm blanking on his name right now. He just ran like a big attention hacking, I think it was, probably about a few months ago. But he's all about like, he's great at getting infotainment content out there that gets attention and it gets new views. It does not always lead to sales. There's other parts. This is after you get the attention, you want to lead to the sale. Okay. So the main thing is, and what most people are missing, this is going to be basic to some people, but even you'll be surprised, even the really good copywriters that I know, 6, 7-year people forget this and they don't do it. You need to address and overcome the underlying beliefs that are rooted in your specific audience's mind, your specific market, and a lot of them are very different. There's a lot of different subsegments that we're going to talk about There's these current beliefs that people have that keep them trapped where they are right now. And your whole job is to get them from where they are right now to get them to where you want them to go. And where you want them to go is your main promise, your product, your service, whatever you're delivering to them and whatever you're promising that they're going to achieve. Okay. So we already talked about the analogy, but like I said, when a lawyer walks into court, do they wing it? No, they don't have clever phrases or claims. They build an airtight case, piece by piece. They do their research. They go forwards, they go backwards, they dig up every single thing. They go all the way back 30 years ago if it's going to support the claim in their case. That's what they're going to do. They're going to find every single supportive argument that they can get. So at the end of the argument, when the 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 3 long, month trial, year-long trial is over, they want the jury to be like, there's no way I'm not agreeing with that guy. He's innocent or he's guilty. That's the main thing. Okay. And that's the lawyer's job. And I know that sounds really big. You don't have to take like a year to do campaigns. I just did a campaign for Todd Brown. It took me 3 weeks. Okay. So some of them might be 3 days. Some might be 24 hours. I mean, you can do stuff in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. This isn't about analysis paralysis. I'm just trying to give the baseline stuff that people should hit. Okay.
Yep.
Without going too far in the weeds. But the main thing is, like I said, there's these beliefs that people need to believe in, the sub-beliefs that they need to latch onto and believe in order to believe that you're providing the right thing for them. Okay. So everything serves a purpose. And the best marketers in the world do this exact thing, like a lawyer. They don't guess, they don't swipe, and they don't steal copy. I'm telling you right now, all the AI gurus, I see all of them all the time. They're great at getting attention on content, but they teach people to just swipe shit and steal. It does not work. Like 95% of people, it will not work for them. You might get lucky, but you have to understand how to actually create positioning in a marketing argument that's different and unique, and it's valuable, right? Because the fact is, like JP and like anyone else watching this, if you've been in the game long enough, you know that everyone if one thing works, everyone pounces on it. There's going to be a coach that tries to sell it immediately. He'll make a bunch of money. Everyone else learning it's not actually learning any persuasion tactics or anything that stands the test of time. They're just learning one little thing and it flames out in a matter of weeks. I've seen it over and over again. I've been in long enough.
Yeah, we talk about that often on these.
Yeah. I've worked for some of the coaches that do that shit. I've got at it pretty quickly just because I didn't agree with it. You know what I mean? But it's the reality of it.
Oh, I do.
So the main thing is you want to investigate and build a case and create an argument that is so compelling that your prospects feel stupid not buying, right? Little hormonesy drop. I think he's the first person that really made that sexy. Probably Dan Kennedy before him, though. Once you understand the shift, everything is going to change. So this is the first belief shift that I kind of just talked about, but it's very, very, it's so important, especially if anyone newer watches this channel. If you do not feel like you understand these things like on a really deep level right now, I want you to take this to heart and really try and practice it. I want you, like the old Dora Explorer thing. I got 3 kids, like I said. If anyone else has kids, my kids don't watch it, but like when I was young, it makes me think of it.
I know exactly the phrase, yeah.
Have a little character in there, the swipe or no swiping. He steals a bunch of stuff from backpacks, take whatever, you know what I mean? So look at it the same way if you're a marketer, if you're writing your own advertising, or if you're going to hire a marketer or a copywriter, make sure there is someone who doesn't just straight up swipe stuff, okay? I see some stuff in here, JP. Love it, bro. Yeah, it was the best analogy I could think of with my kids. And it's very simple for most people to understand, like most people should understand it. But the main thing is, I don't want you to swipe, or I would highly suggest that you do not swipe anything for the reasons I already said. Your stuff's going to flame out. You're not going to get anywhere. It might work for 3 days, and then you're toast. You're going to have to work on a new campaign, okay? You want to become a private investigator instead, okay? So here's the core shift. You need to become a private investigator to give yourself the best chance at scaling campaigns. So I'm talking about the research, and we're going to get into that in a second. Every new campaign, every ad, every email, every hook, like VSL, webinar, whatever marketing material you're writing is going to come from your PI investigation, okay? You don't have to mentally masturbate over swiping from other people, picking up on trends. If you do the research correctly and just spend a little bit of time, all of that stuff will reveal to you, because you'll know what to look for in the research. You'll know how to overcome certain beliefs, and that's what actually leads your hooks. That's what leads your positioning. It's not that here's how I make $20 million in 30 days, you know what I mean? Like with X, Y, and Z method. Like if you guys know where to look and you actually know how to research, which I'll show you where to focus on, those things will reveal itself to you. Okay? So swiper mentality, like I said, copies hooks, paste templates, assumes promises. That means you don't actually know what the hell you're talking about. You're assuming this is what your market wants instead of actually knowing. There is a very big difference. If you take the PI approach, you will know. It will, like I said, it will reveal itself. You will not be guessing. You'll know. Okay. And that's how you get to, like, for example, Todd Brown. Todd Brown puts out shit that he lands on like almost every single campaign over and over and over again. And it's just because he knows his markets so well. Every company goes in, does the same approach. They hit a home run. Maybe I'll share with you, maybe I'll share with you after this, but I have a campaign going through it right now. I have 7,000 people that have signed up for it right now, for a webinar. 7,000 people. Okay. And it's because the promise and everything that I lead with, I knew it was going to land. I knew it was something they I knew the audience really wanted. You don't get 7,000 people on there unless you know exactly what your audience wants, right?
Oh yeah, people watching would be dying to get 7,000 people to all the webinars they've ever run, never mind to one.
It's a big get, and that was yesterday. I'm pretty sure we're going to get over 10,000 on there, and it's very little. It's very little back end. Okay, so the shift is, like I said, think of like Sherlock Holmes, PI mentality. You want to investigate. You want to investigate limiting beliefs. You want to craft sub-beliefs that overcome these with your claims, and you want to provide proof. That's how you create a really good marketing argument. Okay. So a PI understands the why behind great marketing. They understand how to tap into underlying beliefs that compel the audience to their side. When you research, you're not looking for clever headlines or fun hooks. You're looking for resonance. Resonance right now. Where are people at in their awareness spectrum? Okay. Where are you going to meet people at in their mind right now? What are they dealing with and thinking about right now? That's the hook. That's the positioning. That's what you're looking for. Like I said, you're not looking for goofy shit that's trendy. You're looking for something that taps into what the people are thinking about immediately, like right now. That's how you get people to stand up without making stupid ass claims or making anything up, right? You want to tap in their mind. Like a lot of people in the past have said it. It's so true. So many people overlook it all the time. Okay. But you're looking for resonance. That's awareness in the market. You're hunting for gaps. Your audience is buying beliefs. Any missing proof elements, any empty promises, any bold claims, you can basically do the opposite or come up with your own that makes sense and it's believable. And that's where it really begins to live. So your mission, this is where we start. When you do all this, and I'll go through the step by step. Your mission is to offer a new, superior way to achieve a primary promise or a bold outcome. Okay, it is not to make up some bullshit, right? And I'll actually tell you right now. Okay, so the one campaign that I did, not I don't really want to share it, but it's for Christian women, and my main outcome was it was not going to give you the exact hook, but it was basically a simple, easy way for Christian women to make 1 to 3K of supplemental income from their house. Okay. So that is something when I put my marketing argument together, there was about 100 sub-beliefs that I came up with, reasons why they wouldn't buy, reasons why they wouldn't believe. We'll get into all those things. And that was the main thing that I discovered that they want, because a lot of Christian women lead with faith values first. They don't want 5 to 10K like we're used to. They don't want the 10 to 20K. They want just a little bit because they feel insecure about not being able to help their husband provide at home. Because they're at home, they're kind of like watching their kids, but they also don't want to leave their kids. Okay. They don't want to leave their kids. They don't want to abandon them, because that's what their main purpose is, to grow their kids in faith value ways. So it's a faith aligned way for them to make 1 to 3K in supplement income so they can help their family basically have a better way of living. Right. That's the main thing that we're looking for. So that was a new superior way. And my main thing with that promise is now my entire argument has to be wrapped around that one sentence. The entire argument, the entire campaign has to nudge them closer to them ultimately believing that what I'm providing to them, the method, is the only way for them to get that promise or that outcome, the 1 to 3K in supplemental income. Okay. And I'll talk about that. I'll talk about it a little bit more, and how we do it, because it really depends on your marketing awareness, like where your avatar is at. Depends out, how fresh things like these are, like what kind of claims they've seen before. Okay. But to get to this point, though, to come up with stuff like this, is you need to address underlying belief barriers. Okay. Because every single person has a whole bunch of belief gaps and barriers to why their audience doesn't buy. So other people have used, I like to think of this specifically as a tree, but in other ways, I think of it as like a bridge to help people, right? You're going from point A to point B. You want to build them a bridge. I think of this specifically, the belief tree. I think it's a little bit easier metaphor to understand, because it's rooted in deep psychological principles. It even goes back to when you're a kid. Like, you might get yelled at, over certain things, not being able to clean your room, not doing chores. A really big thing is, especially for people that don't have a lot of money, their parents go around saying, hey, we're broke, we don't have a lot of money, God wasn't good to us. All these things get embedded into your mind as a kid. And then you pick up these sub-beliefs as you get older, and they're very deep-rooted psychological beliefs, right? This is why a lot of people, a big reason, I'm not going to say this is why, but a really big reason why a lot of people, that when, especially in America, because we have this sense of entitlement, that if you kind of grow up poor, it's very hard to get out of there. You're surrounded by other poor people. Most of your family doesn't have a lot of money. You're kind of scrapping. Not saying that people don't break out. I didn't have a lot of money when I was younger too. But if you think of the vast majority, most people who come up like that, it's hard for them to change, right? Most people who stay where they are, if you're always overweight, you get labeled as the overweight fat kid, and it's very hard for you to come down. People make fun of you, you know what I mean? And that stuff gets deep rooted. It's very hard. People get kind of wrapped in their own sorrow, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So IG and social media has kind of put like, a rose colored thing on some of these, because they'll be like, oh, they'll see the amazing transformation. People get good at content, and it makes it seem really believable. But the fact is, it's not believable for a lot of people, right? It's just not. Most people stay where they're at. If you're poor, you stay poor for the most part. If you're overweight, you stay overweight for the most part. You know what I mean? And the main thing, if you want to get someone and persuade them to see a better way, or a lighter, a more fruitful way for them, you have to overcome those deep psychological beliefs that they're holding on to. And some of them, like I said, are trauma from a very young age, So that's why you have to you have to think of all of these, because the older that you get, the more stuff you deal with. They attack you at a lot of different ways. And there's a lot of them to come over. It's not just one barrier, as you can kind of see on this tree, right? I'm not good enough. This is what people think. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough money. I'm too afraid to take risks. This is for other people. It's not for me. I wasn't born in a successful family. How could I ever have success? Those are things that need to be addressed. If you think, Ray and JP, I guarantee it, you think of most ad copy and things like that you see from coaches and stuff online, they never address things like this. They just say, here's why we're the best and we're rated #1 and all this shit. They almost never address these psychological, these underlying beliefs. I can't be happy until I have X, right? You need to figure out what the X is, right? This is a story that people are telling themselves in their mind. This is the things that move the needle, okay? Because until you overcome these certain beliefs and you address them head on, they're just going to look at it and be like, yeah, you're just like everyone else. You don't understand me, right? You're not speaking to me. You don't know what I'm going through, right? So like I said, it's the resonance, it's the emotional resonance that you need to tap into. And then when you can tap into that, you can open up that conversation as a friend without becoming like a guru or a sleazy sales ball. Because the fact are, the kids that do that online, they're just selling other kids who want to make money. They're not making a lot of money off the real buyers out there. It's the truth. You know what I mean? It's just quick money off other kids who believe in, the little 5% of pocket of people. They're like, oh, I don't want to make 20K. You know what I mean? But what about the other 95%? This is how you move the other 95%, Okay. Does that make sense?
You're right about what you said with most of the campaigns I see. Only the really good marketers and the top level people I see addressing these things within their ads and their copy, and that's maybe 5%.
There's really not many. like the very top people are there for a reason because they understand this, right? Think of like the Jason Fladley, I'm sure you guys know Jason Fladley, and he's a master at this. People like that, like at the very top, and those are the people who are
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
the really big creators. You know what I mean? They're some of the best in the world, but these are the things, and I'm not saying I'm the best in the world. I've had my fair share, but this is the stuff that you need to believe if you want to actually scale up a really good marketing campaign without being someone who comes off like, like I think of it now, like if you look at all the ads, everyone, there would be like 100 comments that's like, nice try, Diddy, nice try, almost got me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I get a kick out of that because that's exactly how people think. You know what I mean? But if you go through this, if you work through this way, you won't have those problems. Can confirm, yes. Nice try, Diddy, over and over again. You see it on like almost every ad now. It's so funny. You know what I mean? You will not get that if you take this approach, okay? Because you don't have to rely on crazy claims. You rely on the argument, okay? The argument. So every branch is a limiting belief. Your job is to chop down the old tree and replant a new rooted tree in safety, clarity, and possibility. You want them to see the potential, the possibility, and make them feel comforted that they can do this, okay? So again, here's some key sub-beliefs that need to be addressed. Is this believable and attainable? Is this something that your avatar, your audience can see them doing? And do they believe it? And is it attainable for them? This is an identity belief. Am I someone who can do this? Right? If you're talking about money, you want to 100%, you have to 100% address the fact that even if you're poor, even if you come from a background that you're penny pinching, even if your parents, told you for years that you're never going to be able to make anything online, and hey, why are you doing that goofy side business? You're never going to make any money. I'm telling you right now, like this is a way that you can overcome those things, right? Like that has to be addressed. You have to have those, because if you miss any of these belief gaps, even just one belief gap is going to make, it could potentially close the sale for you, or not close the sale for you, right? If you have one major pillar that isn't addressed, that's still always in the back of their mind, right? Still an objection. It's still on, an unproven belief in their mind that's not overcome. And you have to overcome all these things. And that's part of doing the market research. Like I said, if I'm selling money for like a like a Amazon FBA course, they have a whole bunch of different belief gaps, or like TikTok Talk Shop, a bunch of different belief gaps compared to just like a stay-at-home Christian mom, right? If I have a copywriter, that's a bunch of different belief gaps, and maybe say like a brand new sales rep or even a sales manager, like they all have different beliefs. You have to identify those, right? So, is there a problem? Do I need to solve it? And how urgent is it? Right? So they have to understand that they have a problem. It needs to be a bleeding neck problem. Do I need to solve it right now? Is it urgent? Right? If it's not urgent, they're not going to fix it. If they don't understand that it's urgent or not, they're not going to fix it right now. They'll sit on their hands and they'll wait. Okay? So is this the best method to solve my problem? Why not go somewhere else? Is this person legit or full of shit? Like you said, you see that all the time now. Okay?
Yeah, we do.
So these key sub-beliefs need to be built around the avatar, like I said, the audience, what they think, what they believe, how they feel, identities, even all the way back from like childhood that haven't been addressed. Okay. There are specific problems that they're facing right now. What do they wake up and see all day? What do they go through? What experiences do they face? How do people provide problems to them? What are the external problems, not just internal problems? What are the external problems from the world? How do they view the world? How does the world view them? Right? Your product, your specific method, your promise, and your credibility. Okay? So, like I said, this is a whole bunch. I just wanted to like really lay this on. This is what your product's whispering. Product's inner voice is whispering. That's costing you sales. Scam, nice try, Diddy. This won't work for someone like me. I've been burnt before. Could someone like me succeed? I'm not tech savvy. I've failed before. I'm too old. Like that specifically, that's a direct sub-belief that if I were selling a TikTok shop to someone that's, say, 45 years old, and he's like, if it's someone who is a 95 and he's like, I just can't do this stuff anymore. I'm going to try and make internet money on the side. All these kids are doing it. I can do it too. But if he might think that, he's also going to be like, there's also going to creep inside that he's going to be like, I'm too old. All these kids have grown up in the technology. I didn't do that. So I'm not going to be able to do that. You need to address that for sure. But also like, I'm not tech savvy. Like you need to show them that maybe it's like a plug and play thing. Like you don't actually have the software that I'm handing to you does it completely for you. So you don't have to be someone who grew up in technology to understand this, right? It'll take you 30 seconds to understand it. And I'll show you exactly how, that type of thing,
Yep.
right? So,
or you can show them another case where you got a 95-year-old that did have success with this and be like, hey, now they're going to think, oh, that guy could do it. And he's my age, so maybe I can. Anything that makes it, as Keith pointed out earlier, more attainable to them.
Association for sure. There's a ton of different ways to do it. But the main thing is, all of these things, and like I'm hitting on here as well, all of these things, like these are all real thoughts. These are different thoughts that can be spread between different audiences. These are the main ones. They have problems with themselves. They have problems with you. They have problems with your product. They have problems with the outcome that you're providing, the claims and stuff, and your credibility and stuff like that. All those need to align for pretty much everyone. It's like, do I need this now? Is it going to work for me? Can I trust this person? You know what I mean? Like everyone has those certain beliefs, but these are just ways that they think about it in their head, a lot of different ways, right?
Yep.
So this seems great, but maybe I can just learn it from YouTube or free content. That's another huge one online right now because everyone puts out free content, right? Can I trust you? Who are these people anyway? You got to address as many beliefs as possible. You ultimately want to have an entire list. Like I said, when I did the last campaign, I had 100, probably over 100. And that was the entire campaign. When you understand every possible angle, objection, belief, sub-belief that these people are hanging on to, that is standing from where they're at to where they want to go to reach your outcome, you need to address every single one in your campaign, like every single one. Because like I said, if you have one failed, that could be the one that stops them from moving forward, right? It's kind of like a game of like Yahtzee, or just like rolling the dice. Like you want to.
Let me ask you something real quick. I agree with you. You have to know as many as possible, every single one. But then at some point, you prioritize what are the main ones and what are the ones that associate to the most people.
Yeah, you're on again. I was gonna go. So one of the main things is have a little bit lower bit. Also,
gotcha.
when you're constructing it, you want to construct it from highest level to basically lowest. What you believe, what you've researched, right? Because you want to lead with the most aware problem or whatever that is, right? The biggest position.
Well, really, the one that's going to have the most resonance to your ideal audience, correct?
100%. Yeah. But the thing is, like, the main thing is when you're writing like a VSL, and you can 100% do this in like 5 minutes nowadays. But like if you want to have something that's evergreen, that scales forever, why would you not want to include all of these that have stood the test of time? People are never losing this. They're always going to have this. I mean, it's been thousands of years. People have thought the same way.
Oh, definitely.
Right? It's just embedded psychology. We're all born with it. We all have it, right? It's passed on in our genes or whatever, whatever psychological reason that we all have these same sub-beliefs. And then it's, molded by our environment, how we grew up and all these things.
And as you said earlier, then it's how you explain it to somebody so they can actually understand it. So this is the way that, you're teaching it and you think people can best understand it. This is really, really good because almost everything in here, in my mind, through other marketing things I've created or been through, takes me back to all the philosophies within PDOCS. You're just putting in different terminology here with the gaps and the angles and the, and as we always talk about the current belief and the buying belief and what's the bridge you need to build or the gap you need to lay out to get them to make that association. So it's so true that what he's saying is tested, is proven, and it's what everybody's doing. It's just how can somebody explain this to you so you can understand it, really digest it, and then go implement it into your business. That's the disconnect. A lot of people will hear this information and not retain it or not hear it in a way that it really makes sense to them. So then they'll never go implement and execute on it and see any results from it.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I'm really trying to do, and that's why I'm really hammering this, because I just want to repeat, I don't want you guys to think in swipes or angles or hooks, like the buying beliefs and the positioning. That's what is going to help you scale. That's what works. Okay. That's what you need. It's the emotional resonance. It's the awareness level. What are people dealing with right now? It's not what can I say to get someone's attention? No, it's the real world problems that people are dealing with on a psychological and deeper emotional level. Those are the things that you need to nail. Okay. And you don't need to have it. Your copy doesn't even need to be crazy if you nail this part of it. Okay. You don't have to be like some master manipulator or anything. You're just able to speak to someone freely and understand them. And people can feel that in copy, right? They can feel that when you do that.
Yeah, especially when you get those two components right that you just mentioned. I mean, the rest doesn't have to be great if you get that right.
100%. And then when you add like the offer and everything to it, like that's when it becomes like a real no-brainer. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, but this is just more like I can't handle rejection. Success is for other people. Money's evil, huge one, right? If you're trying to sell someone who's probably a little bit, especially like a faith-based one, like that's really big one. Money's like evil. You need to get them to believe and show them that Jesus actually wants you, or God, if whoever's watching this, if you believe that religion, it's actually a beneficial thing. In religion, God wants you to have wealth so you can go ahead and bless yourself, but also others. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? So money's not the root of all evil. It's a good thing. And I take that same philosophy. I want to make more money so I can help more people. I want to bless more people. That's just who I am. You know what I mean? Like I give back and I tithe and I do all those things. I give random toys to people all the time. But that's like if you're trying to sell me on money, that's how you'd want to sell me too. Don't just be like, hey, you make 100K and all those stuff. Like sell me on the belief that I can
impact
way more good and get back and having a much bigger mission and purpose with money. So you can have more and then bless others as well. That's a buying belief.
Okay. Yeah, Keith, I don't want to cut you short because this is great. I didn't think we might get through the whole document, but I gotta run in about 5 to 10 minutes tops. So I wanted to give a quick little recap, and I wanted to give JP a chance to chime in with any questions or feedback on today. But really quickly, guys, my kind of recap, and of course, I've been going back and forth and just talked about the similarities to PDOCS, the current beliefs, the buying beliefs, all that stuff. But I think one of the things you mentioned earlier, and that's very basic, that I'd just like to make the correlation again, you had earlier at the top of this doc, and by no means do you have to scroll back up to it, but you very clearly laid out investigate, build a case, and then create an argument around it. So guys, that very simply comes back to do the research, find out what that primary promise you need to make, and then your whole argument and your copy is based around that. Like very much get that down more than anything out of what we talked about today. That's my biggest takeaway, and I think the biggest impact you guys can go make in a simplistic effort without totally, implementing or understanding every aspect of what we mentioned here today. I think that's really, really important. And what you had talked about with, you had mentioned earlier about certain people get lucky, but that's not what we want. And that's not what we want, because those are the flash in the pan businesses. We want things that are consistent and predictable. And as I always say, it comes down to exactly what we talked about with the investigate, build a case, and create an argument, because something I talk about on a lot of my live streams, and something that I know is true, is people don't necessarily buy good products and services. They buy good sounding products and services, which is where the resonance and the copy really matters. So those are some of my takeaways that I just wanted to reiterate and break down in my own terminology. JP, would you love to unmute and just give us your thoughts? Any questions for Keith? I'd love to hear from you for a minute.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks for allowing me to speak and participate. Keith, a fantastic conversation today.
Really?
I want to just make it brief, but just a couple of things. I took a couple of quick notes here. One of the things that I appreciate about this message here, Keith, is that this is a variation or a version of the type of conversation that elite level marketers and for really digital entrepreneurs are having right now today. And we're all dealing with the AI slop issue. That's really what we're dancing around here is AI slop, the copy paste marketers, and everyone essentially is coming into the marketing world for a few different reasons or another, and we welcome them all into the industry. However, there needs to be decorum, there needs to be minimum standards, and I appreciate you raising the standard with your program. You have a servant faith-based leadership offer, and I want to congratulate you for bringing that into the market. And lastly, thank you for sharing your document today. If you don't mind sending me a link, I'd love to take a quick look at it. We have various types of internal documents that have something similar. I myself was trained in something very, very similar to this 20 plus years ago, and it's one of the secret sauces that I have, and quite frankly, I don't teach publicly because of how this can be used with malicious intent. And here's what I mean by this, right? And you'll appreciate this, Keith, from this linguistics perspective. If the blessing gets violated or abused, the blessing goes away, right? Okay. So from that perspective, it's important to put ethical products and services out into the market, and all of the rest of that stuff is going to disappear. That's all I had. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my remarks, and take it away, guys.
Thank you, JP. And Keith, I'd like you to wrap up with, and just so you know, JP, Keith's going to send me over the doc. I'll get it right to you once he gets it to me. Anybody watching again on YouTube or ask for a replay, it'll be linked down in the description by the time this is posted, or you ask for it. So it'll be there. JP, I'll get it to you directly. I'm obviously connected with you, and I'll have some of Keith's contact information also in the description. But Keith, any thoughts on my end point or what JP had to say, or anything you'd like to close with here? And again, I just want to thank you and reiterate what JP said. I think this was a really, really great lesson. And I was like engulfed and fascinated in it the whole time, which I got to say is kind of rare when I have a guest on, because a lot of times I feel like, oh, I already know this, or this is kind of entry level stuff. But this was great. So go ahead and close it out.
Oh, I appreciate that, bro. It's probably because we're just friends, but no, I'm just kidding. JP, yeah, I appreciate JP. So one thing I'll say is I am going to share this. You can share with whoever wants it. Like JP said, though, put it in the right hands. Like, obviously, if anyone digs, they can find this stuff way back in certain psychology books and things. But yeah, obviously, like, it is very powerful framework, and please only use it for good. That's like all I would say too. Like, I'm really happy that JP brought that up. The main thing that I would say too, though, is we didn't get to get through it, but I did want to share, like, anyone who gets this doc or watches through this, please go through this ad that I pulled. This is nothing against the person that I pulled this from if you come across it. But this is an actual ad that's live, and it was an example of everything not to do, because it basically makes a lot of claims and it doesn't handle or address like any underlying sub-belief that the market would have. And the reason why, like I said, you want these sub-beliefs, it's not just to get more people in your programs, it's also to retain them, to make them feel good about things, to make them feel comfortable, right? Like, the reason why a lot of these people, they might sell a lot of money on the front end, but their churn rate, and I've seen on the back end, a lot of the churn rates are very high, because all you do is just make claims and bold promises, but you don't actually provide anything on the back end that like upstands a claim, right? So this is the thing is, I just want to show that this is the way not to do it. Just a bunch of ways to say, my program's cool, or my program's the best, or whatever. And if you read that and you listen to what I said and you go through the doc, you'll hopefully understand that, right?
The red flags will come up.
Yeah. Yep. So other than that, though, man, I'm appreciative to be on here. My framework is right through here. Like I said, use it wisely, and I'll share this with you.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for taking the time. And guys, sorry we didn't have time to get through this, the latter half of this document in depth, but I'm glad Keith included an example of what not to do. Something that JP has seen, and myself and my other partner Fred do on certain live streams and live sessions. We'll break down ads and the do's and the don'ts, and we'll ask people to try in before we even highlight the red flags. So what are you seeing here in terms of compliance, or what would you change about this? And I think it's really fascinating to break that stuff down. Not a lot of people really focus on that. So thank you for bringing that. Thank you for your time, your friendship. And guys, if there's the demand, I'll get in touch with Keith and we can have him on for a part 2 about this.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you. All right,
awesome.
JP.
Thanks again, guys. We'll be in touch soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.